This meeting is being recorded.
I believe before the formal part of the meeting that we're going to have a presentation of our picture by from Graham Fanting. It's been done by Bobby Witter. She. Thanks, Bobby. Yes.
So we need a saying pretty made comment.
Yes. Yes. That was better. You go ahead and would you like to come forward with the picture? I haven't seen that there's anyone else.
Part of the general election. Yeah. Picture of the voice bridge in Leewood. What happens to that? That's tasty. Yeah. She's not me, no. So we've got just. Recognition.
Yes. Thank you, Chief Clerk, for facilitating the interaction, which I hope is working technically well with Stroud. Also the MP starting around. So try not to be overawed with him. So acting for Barbara Collins, who's not too well at the moment, and we were hoping she would come down with her daughter, but it's not possible. So I've been given the mantle, and so good evening and greetings, and I'm going to try and give Barbara's contribution to such a life. Get to page one before page two. So coming to Thatcher with her husband's head in the 1960s, they quickly integrated themselves into Leeds life. That's when it was becoming a town with its first mayor. And her second husband was David Wootton, was to be the second mayor. A quote from the former leader here, her aim was to encourage a community spirit in Thatcher, as evidenced by the inauguration of the Festival of Arts and Crafts, originated by former Mayor Judith Gilsleeve. It was the start of what was known as the Orange Wash. If anybody doesn't get the connection, and the long-standing political alliance. James and Collins in election to District Council Sward. Many initiatives emerged from their Lowerway Lane in South Ward, in Chislett House in North Ward, and Chislett House was visiting out the ideas of those that met at their house, which I did regularly. And used to invent phantom ward meetings in original MPs listening. Barbara performed the three great offices of state, MT, the district, and the parish. No, where's the town? Right. After the parish, after the parish, what do you call it? The public, the parish park, so the parish park initiative. She then went on to district council And then later, she became deputy mayor. Why did she not become the mayor? Because she was elected onto the county council, I think. So she got as far as it. He stood against such supporter. I can see one or two amused faces.
Wonderful piece.
And paved the way for parliamentary representation. Emphasise the importance of a supportive team. At all levels, number levels with her genius on the water system and responding to local crises. Reachable campaigner for Thatcher. He was, and her husband were, people coming from each side, ideas into Thatcher rather than traditional villagers or townsfolk. He brought a fair share of ambition and very supportive of all that went on in Thatcher. Probably a major achievement from being auctioned by the district council, putting together a committee to form a school gate with strong support from the council. It says it's commemorated with a plaque in the building. Interest in local organisations and that's church choir. Not least her love of painting as viewed in her proud residential home and by Councillor Cotton. Is he here this evening? Well, there he is, yeah. And flies to other residents in the area. So I'm honoured as a former member of the team to present this picture of a prominent Thatcham landmark will be placed in the council chamber in recognition of contribution to Thatcham life. And just give a clue, 3 things that this painting commemorates. It's right in the centre of Thatcham. It was got a connection with, and it has recently had a special plaque. Anybody guess? I have here also. I have here also a special commemoration because she's got one in her residential home of a British Award by Mayor Jenny Weave, giving in recognition, especially for her work with the Blue Coast Trust. I think we're having a photograph taken.
Bill Nutter.
Not to. Here we go.
Anyone have a guess? Here we are. I think it's got the initials in the corner. Yeah. So we have seen and councillors who haven't yet been in the Blue Coat School will go in there and see her plaque in the Blue Coat School. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Indeed, yes.
So you want to get Bobby in as well?
A good idea.
Press on. So they need to be over there. No.
Cover the councillors. Cover the council. Turn and show that way.
Keep going.
You need to go the other
Go.
because
The blue windows. Go the blue. Go next to the purple. Go.
purple lines.
And that way. There you go. Yes. Hi, Bobby.
Hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Let's do it in landscape. Take the photograph in landscape. That's nice. We've got artistic directors over there. Excellent. It's me.
Background, Carol. Brain.
We know a shop that can do picture frame.
Where it is.
Just picture it.
Oh.
Start the. Oh, what's now, Bobby?
Hello.
That way. Thank you so much for your beautiful painting. Someone probably in here.
I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed, but very proud. And Saturn will always hold a great place in my heart. So I'm sorry I can't be with you, but at 91, I'm retiring. Thank you very much indeed.
We're very proud of you and very grateful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm going to cut off now. Thank you. And good night. And God bless.
Bye, Bobby. Yeah.
Thank you. It's really nice. Thank you, Graham, for doing that. We'll start with the official part of the meeting. Have we got apologies for absence?
Apologies for speaking absence, like Paul and Ian Cottingham. Thank you. And any questions?
Jeff Brooks?
Yeah, he's exempt.
Stevenson. Have we got any declarations of interest? No. So we've now got a presentation from Dr. Pat Watson on biodiversity and the environment. Come forward. Do you want to stand here? Would that be right? Or?
Basically, probably, yes. Okay, thank you very much. So the title of my presentation is Why and How.
Really sorry. I would just need to agree to allow people to speak. I'm just behind it. Thank you.
The main reason is with children. 10 years ago, as we sat and watched the oil tankers waiting to unload at Pembroke Oil Refinery. Since then, not only have I been worried about their future, but I've also been worried about the fact that I could be unwittingly contributed to making their future worse. Slide, please. Another reason why I want to look at my carbon footprint is the science. I'm a scientist by background. Since the Industrial Revolution, we have been putting increasingly large amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. We know that the carbon dioxide traps heat, and as a result, scientists are no longer predicting that we're going to go into an ice age in about 50,000 years. Instead, severe weather events, and this is impacting on our future ability to produce food, access fresh water, and live in safe homes free from flooding or wildfires. The Paris Agreement of 2015 will convert this vertical red line into a more stable horizontal line green. This was known as net zero, and the first phase of this is to half our emission in 5 days. Another consideration was if I was going to look at my carbon footprint, would this actually make any difference? I'm only one person. Wouldn't be concerned about environment. In fact, all across the world, at least 2/3 of people want to see more action. And of course, that 1 in 4 people making sustainable changes before we trigger politicians follow changes in votes, and companies follow new methods. Not everyone's in a position to reduce their carbon footprint, but there are other meaningful changes we can all make, such as going to the and anyone we have. Contact in nature by turning our gardens, local green spaces into much needed havens. An important one is pushing to balance pensions that don't invest in fossil fuels, These are some of my favourite ones: Friends of the Earth, Oxfam, the Climate Coalition, which has got over 20 million members. That's an umbrella group for groups like RSPB, the Institute, the Wildlife Trusts. Big Polluters Pay, which is sometimes called the Climate Income and the Non-Proliferation Treaty, which should be being debated by the Council and their Environment Advisory Group this evening. Another consideration is, even if I'm able to reduce my carbon footprint, is it economically feasible for the majority of people to do that by 2030? Many economists now agree it now costs less to save the planet than to destroy it. So saving the planet, this is information from the government's website, Climate and Health 2022. Things like saving lives, creating jobs, saving households money, saving the NHS money. Destroying the planet, to pick out just a couple of pieces of data globally, climate change is already costing between $6 and $10 trillion per year to put that into context. Total global GDP is just over hundreds of years. So that is a large number. If we carry on as we are, by the end of the century, the United Nations estimates we could have 83 million early deaths, 1 in 5 people displaced, and 1 in 10 animals extinct. Next slide, please. I definitely want to do something. You have to manage that you're not measuring. So the next step was, how could I get a better estimate of what my own carbon footprint was? Burning a pint of petrol produces roughly 1 kilogram of carbon dioxide, and that's about the size of a large exercise ball. Or if you prefer, every time you put a litre of petrol into your car, that's going to produce 2 large exercise balls, which get released into the atmosphere. You will work off in faster pace to get trapped in the lower level of the atmosphere, called the troposphere. To get a feel for my own carbon footprint, I can highly recommend this book, How Bad Are Bananas? A typical evening, I could drive to 10 miles home in a petrol car, maybe have an omelette, a yogurt for my tea, but on a pair of pajamas, I could very easily be responsible for releasing 10 large fold CO2 into the troposphere without doing anything out of the ordinary. Next slide, please. We can also think about carbon footprints in terms of yearly amounts. Here the rate tons, which would be equal to 1,000 kilograms, which is roughly the size of a typical sandwich face. The average UK person's carbon footprint is 9 tons. The world average is 6 tons. Living in the Lambourn Valley, as I do, I was emitting 14 households of carbon dioxide into the troposphere every year. I think there are 120,000 people living in this valley. The scale of the problem. I highly recommend the World Wildlife Fund footprint calculator. It breaks down our carbon footprint by food, travel, home, and by stock, and food as well. I won't go through these numbers because I'll go through my own numbers. Next slide, please. So I now felt that I wanted to have my carbon footprint. It was going to be meaningful. It was financially viable. I understood how to estimate it. So I went ahead and made a plan. And I'm pleased to say that at the start of this year, I had successfully halved my carbon footprint. What I hadn't really appreciated was what I now know are called the co-benefits. So my health environment and those are lower. When I can achieve my carbon my children's future. So we'll go through each of these 4 main areas. I managed to reduce my emissions from 4 tons to 2 tons. The next thing was really a mental change. Instead of making my family meals, I was managed to feed family weekend. Instead, I now based them around a weekly vegetable delivery. That's an example of what I get every week. And I now add things like tin beans, toasted nuts, lentils. Like a Mediterranean style diet, which we know is better for our health anyway. It's also cheaper. A Mediterranean style diet could save £700 per year per person, and it's got so many other benefits for animal welfare, antibiotic misuse, and clean up more land for the nature recovery. Carry on.
I want to save carbon.
It's beautiful sound. Another important thing is to minimize food waste. Most of us underestimate how much food we all waste. I will stop for a second. However, reducing our food waste could save the average family up to £700 per year. Another consideration, but not as important as the Mediterranean diet and food waste, is trying to buy local, seasonal, regenerative and fair food grows for yeah, that's right. Right, for travel, I reduced my emissions from 3 tons to 1 ton. Everyone's circumstances are different, but in my case, the big thing was switching an 8-year-old petrol SUV to a smaller electric car. For the second hand, and this year we now have price parity between second hand electric and petrol and diesel cars. Okay. Electric vehicles tend to come with long warranties, usually 7 or 8 years. Still get a second-hand car with 5 or 6 years left of the warranty, which gives you peace of mind. Important, I can charge mine on my drive, which means I can take advantage of the cheap overnight charging rate, which is roughly £2.50 for 100 miles, which I'm told is about 7 times cheaper than a petrol or diesel car. It's range of over 100 miles, so suitable for 99% of all journeys. Obviously, personal cars are still not great, so if they're possible, we should all try to use alternatives, walking and cycling. If you're lucky enough to have public transport in a rural area, use it. Circumstances actually trying to stay more local. I live in a lovely part of the world, so I now go for walks in the Lambourne Valley, visit the local shops, that sort of thing. Reducing flying is important if you can. Some people have got it. There's a lot of misinformation about electric cars, so I do recommend, if you're considering one, look up the booklet, because it does help to clarify some of this misinformation. For my home, I've gone from 3 tons to 1 ton. The UK needs to reduce the carbon footprint of heating our homes by 95%, which sounds huge, but according to the Climate Change Committee, because the advisory body to the government, is completely achievable. We need to switch to heat pumps, which I know is not without its issues. Because we need more installation, and we are on the way to the decarbonized national grid. I think that's all the station today. The moment for renewable energy, so that's your wind and your solar going into the national grid. So the national grid's done some amazing work over the last few years. My own personal circumstances, I live in a 1970s 3-bedroom bungalow. It did have cabin wall insulation. It also had 3 teenagers, which is probably why my energy bills were so high. Despite that, the house was often cold. We had a 50-year-old oil boiler, so changing that for a heat pump was a no-brainer. Solar panels include the loft insulation, and now about £800 cheaper. And more importantly, and again, this is the thing I don't think people talk about, is the heat pump your house is warm. Also, major advantage. What we're now doing this year is looking at putting in single-room mechanical ventilation heat recovery units, because it turns out if you do all the shower, we could all this part of the house, and we now have mold for the first time in our house. So that's a bit of advice I should have known about at the start. And to do hopefully in the next few months. Next slide, please. Well, there are many companies who encourage us to buy lots of stuff because that helps support their profits. However, a lot of the recycling and offsetting claims are not fully transparent, which makes it hard for consumers to make well-informed decisions. We're encouraged to recycle, but recycling may not meaningfully reduce our carbon footprint. Its main aim is to keep raw materials within the circular economy. One of the big problems is we just produce a lot of waste. The average produces just under a ton of waste every year. There are some solutions. So the most obvious is just buying it up, packaging. Think about how you're going to dispose of an item before you even buy it. That's your mind about buying it. Declutter our houses, it's healthier, it makes them easier to insulate. It took me 3 months to declutter my lock before I could even think of insulating it. And I think that's one reason why now I don't like buying new stuff, because it was quite a painful process to go through. Absolutely, and I know that there's a review of this going on at the moment. I would like to see less of my council tax payments being put towards waste management. So yes, when it comes to the waste hierarchy, we think refuse, reduce, reuse is much more meaningful. I don't want to give the impression it's up to individuals to solve the climate crisis, it obviously isn't. The United Nations have got the global responsibility. They managed to get pretty much all the countries in the world to sign up to the Paris Agreement. They also operate under their own framework convention for climate change. And as part of both of these, they have something called Action for Climate Empowerment, which focuses on things like education, public awareness, training, information, cooperation, and I'll come back to that. Our own government signed up to the Paris Agreement, and they also work under the Climate Change Act. The Sasha Council set some really good targets in 2020, and they have various ways that they engage with councillors, general public, local eco groups, and I think they should also be calling on the government to get more of the resources to meet their own targets. And so what does Action Town Council do? I do recommend making sure that you're as well informed as possible. Really understand the link between carbon pollution and a stable climate and our future access to the basic things, food, water and shelter. Be well informed about the carbon pollution resulting from how we get energy, with the food we eat, how we travel, how we heat our homes and the stuff we buy. These are probably the three best resources. If you can, watch the David Attenborough documentaries on Netflix. Investigate your own carbon footprint. So go online, look at the World Wildlife Fund footprint calculator and imagine how you might try to help it by 2030. And the Carbon Literate Project is another really good way to increase your own. As far as enhanced activities go, obviously be a good role model. We know that people tend to be what's called conditional cooperators. People are much more likely to make changes if they see other people making those changes. And people to improve the energy efficiency of their own homes, if the council buildings are not energy efficient and they're being hit by oil and gas. And then finally, and this maybe sounds obvious, make carbon polluted choices harder and cleaner choices easier. And this was the conclusion of a major study published recently in Science, looking at 2 decades of policy across the world. And that is really what we should be aiming for. So, for example, don't put in carbon charges trying to decrease calories, and there's alternatives through transport or cycle pathways. In conclusion, I don't think anything I've said tonight is rocket science. The basic principles of the climate and nature crisis are really very, very simple. The complexity comes through the technology and the policy. What I'd like you to do is try to keep the basic principle of the forefront of your mind as you try to deal with all of the other complexity. With that, I think I've stopped it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was really interesting and informative. What as individuals and as council. Yes. Has anyone got any questions?
You're pretty much on board. It's already a question. Would it be Council Environment Group tonight, except
I would also be there because I was the one putting forward a question. I had the global fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty. The Reading Council had actually signed up to already, so it'd be great. Council told us maybe it's Action Town Council. It was more grassroots pressure can put the more likely politicians and MPs are likely to take votes as well.
You're good with our party. We're part of that.
what are the sorts of things that we can do and that now I've heard this for a second time, and you would say that today, remembering things you told us before that I'd already forgotten. A lot of the people want the same message over and over again to people. How can we do that the most effectively? Do you think, or you like that you can do?
Probably don't know enough about how the council is really know the answer from my own personal point of view. So I was a little eco group in my village, and then I joined the Hungerford Environmental Action Team. I now joined the West Berkshire Green Exchange as a way to try to share this information. So many people get sidetracked to greenwashing to recycling. Recycling didn't touch the surface of reducing our carbon emissions. So it's trying to get the right information out. The Green Exchange, we now have a WhatsApp group where we keep each other up to date with the latest climate and nature news. We post on Facebook through the West Berkshire Climate Action Network. I have a climate and nature stand. I take around things like the Waterfall Main Festival, which was on a weekend. So talking to people is that's one thing that we can all do individually, and that's one of the main bits of recommended advice when you go into any of the sort of major campaigns. There's obviously making sure that our teachers and schools are well informed, so they may include information from children, making sure all our parish and town councils are well informed. I engage with East Garson Parish Council, who are very well intentioned, but they're probably not as well informed as they could be, which slows down the process of trying to move forward. United Nations Action for Climate and Environment, where it talks about education, information, public awareness. The trouble is there are many people who'd like us to carry on business as normal because that's what their business models are based on, and they're the ones who signed budgets. I'm not sure if you spotted the figure, but advertising industry in the UK is worth £34 billion per year. That's almost what we're up against, trying to get our message out there. Our message is very well received. They get to sort of help consumers and individuals make informed decisions. Answers the question.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another presentation from Jenny Douglas. Quality improvement and operations manager, children and young people.
Hey, well done.
Oh, it's a good start.
2018. And that's for the last cycle of council skills. Was attention. Yes, Simon. What company is that?
Thank you for letting me come and speak. So I'm from Response, mental health charity. One of the biggest charities in terms of I've come particularly to talk about our Thatcher and Wellbeing Hub, which is a project that we are sort of in the process of launching. So we've been talking about. I'm just going to give a bit more detail about the project. Just to kind of talk about sort of the mission of Response, we as a charity actually work across all ages, but our particular mission for children and young people is to work with them and to the approach to the wellbeing and the mental health, and then also to live in safe and supportive environments. So that's kind of our overarching mission. Just to talk very briefly about kind of the work that we do, because I'm very aware that as an organisation we don't do that much at the moment within West Berkshire. We are a big organisation, particularly in Oxfordshire. So this is, I'm not going to go through all the detail on this slide, but this is the range of services that we currently deliver in Oxfordshire, particularly within the CAMHS environment. So we work right from kind of early intervention work in the schools team, which is the mental health support team, supporting with youth workers in schools. We're in 32 secondary schools in Oxfordshire, supporting with low-level preventative support. And then right the way up to the Tier 4 hospital. So those are the young people that have been hospitalised because of their mental health, because they're at risk to themselves, whether it's because of eating disorders or in those environments with youth work and social prescribing support for people. So quite a range of services that we currently offer, particularly in Oxfordshire. Another service which we were offering actually in West Berkshire until March of this year was Reframe, which was supporting 16 to 25-year-old young people. So particularly supporting young people who are transitioning into adult care, into adult services. And that was a project that was supporting particularly care leavers within Reframe. So I just wanted to give a bit of scope of what we've done as an organisation, kind of up background and work that we've previously done. So the proposal, the project that I particularly come to talk about is the idea of putting a wellbeing hub in Thatcham. So as an organisation within Response, you're probably aware, we operate the Caramar site, which is on the old Priory building between the Broadway and the church. We have supporting service there for adults that are stepping down from mental health hospitals, supporting them to get back into the community. On that site, there is the old hub building that's obviously it's got your branding on as Thatcham Town Council, was but that building isn't being used at the moment. And as an organisation, we particularly were looking for a place-based offer that could support for showing people. So as an organisation, because we had that building really doing much, we thought it was a perfect place to kind of propose and to work towards this this part that we're putting together in Thatcham. So we're in the early stages of kind of working through the funding for this and the ideas, but this is something we're really passionate about because, as it says down my second point, it's about offering preventative early support from mental health services. If you are aware of the kind of mental health services within the whole country, anytime we talk about CAMHS, you talk about waiting lists. Majority of support to get support from CAMHS is possibly up to 2 years. Specialist support, particularly for autism and ADHD. In Oxfordshire, you're waiting up for 5 years. In West Berkshire, it's a little bit better, it's up to 3 years. Waiting list, not getting any support. We're trying to provide with this idea is preventative support. Hopefully, you're getting pretty much straight away, or support. So we really want to get early to show people. So what we've done so far is kind of met with the stakeholders. We're very aware that there's a lot of support ready within West Berkshire and then within Thatcham. Every single provider that's kind of listed on there, particularly the Emotional Health Academy, Thatcham Youth, Time to Talk, Berkshire Youth as well, have said they're doing brilliant pieces of work. You know, we know that we're very much kind of a bit of an outside organisation coming in. Met with all of these as well as the West Berkshire Council as well, and also the schools. This morning I was at Trinity talking to them about it previously. I met with Kennett School, and they're all saying there is great support out there, but there's not enough. So the idea of us coming in is not really to step on anyone's toes, it's to add to the brilliant support building itself as well that we're going to put together. We're very clear within that we want to work alongside people. So we know Berkshire Youth in particular, in Thatcham, don't have a building that they use. So they're obviously based in the Waterside Centre in Newbury, but when they come and do detached youth work in Thatcham, they don't really have anywhere to work out of. So to them, once we've got the building up and running, they can use our building, they can use our hub and work alongside us. So this proposal is about us delivering mental health support, but it's also about working alongside the organisations that are already there, space to work from, doing that kind of co-production and co-facilitation of. Just to kind of give you a bit about the needs. So a survey that was done, I think, last year by West Berks Council, particularly looking at Thatcham young people, was asking them, what is the need? What do you need within services? Not just mental health services, but these were the figures that came out that were kind of pertinent to mental health. So 56% of the people said that the mental health is something they want to know, which is I think you look at national figures and you look at it's kind of not also a surprise. 34% said that more needed to be done to support mental health in Thatcham. And then 27% said either for themselves or for someone else in their life. So we know there's a need. Again, I said, these statistics are not surprising if you look at the national picture, but it proves to us that we need provision in place to support people in this community. So what the offer will be, so the hub is obviously, which is, as already said, is going to be a community offer for other people to work out of it, as well as our delivery. We're going to offer drop-in sessions after school, so particularly focusing on young people coming to our space and actually just walking in themselves and saying, I need to talk to someone, I need some help, potentially picking up young people that are already in the system, but also supporting people that might already be on waiting lists, but maybe not getting support. Our youth workers will take on a one-to-one caseload, so supporting young people 6 to 8 weeks, offering them support each week, kind of giving them touch base, giving them someone to work with. For drop-in sessions for families, because I think a lot of this need is about young people, but it's also supporting parents to support the young person that they are looking at telephone signposting, and then also wellbeing groups. With all of that offer, although we will use the centre as our base, we also want to go out into the community. So I'm saying to Trinity today that we will offer groups in their school. It's not necessarily the young people have to come to us. We go to the schools, we'll kind of offer support in different places in the community. Just very briefly, sort of, again, I won't read all of this, but we know that the benefits to this is to the system. So giving that mental health support isn't just about supporting, it's also reducing the demand on primary services, so people are not going to their GPs necessarily, they're not going to go on their CAMHS waiting list, because hopefully we can support them at point of need. Increasing the use of community services, I think, is a really positive one. It's about signposting to all the other brilliant things that are out there. We know within the work that we do, particularly around social prescribing, that actually going to a football club or joining clubs or brownies can be equally as impactful as going to CAMHS. So we'll signpost to these different organisations to make sure that the community connection is kind of happening. Also, impact on employment, education and training, and also people in the criminal justice system. Because if you're catching them early and supporting them, they might not go down that pathway that we hear about a lot in the. Just on these next few slides, just some quotes really, just to summarise some of the work that we've previously done, either the work we've done in West Berkshire before, or some of the stuff we've done in Oxfordshire. So yeah, just a quote about kind of supporting anxiety and using meditation exercises on that one. This was particularly from a young person, so this has allowed me to realise that expectations I think people have on me actually come from my own anxieties and pressure on myself. So you get people to understand themselves a bit better. And then this last one, particularly from Brown Bromwich, just on the A4, which is where we were working last year with some of their care leaders. They found this is obviously just one quote, but they found that the support that we were offering them was amazing compared to, again, waiting lists, support that those young people needed. And that's a really stressful environment if you've ever been to Bramley. So there's a lot of brilliant work going on there, but those young people have got history, a lot of stuff they've had to deal with. So we were kind of really pleased that we could support. So I think this is my last slide. So kind of the place that we're at, we've got an exchange to say thank you, because actually the first money that we got on that was actually from Town Council, so we're really appreciative of that. We're initially fundraising for just over 28,000. So that is to refurbish the hub building to back to kind of a good quality and show all that kind of thing. We then will look for continued funding after that for our workers, so that we've actually got staff to work out of that. We are kind of very much engaging at the moment with grant funders, other opportunities for funding. We're going to be putting some stuff in the press in the next few days to kind of get people around the area, maybe to chip in £10, £20, so we can kind of build community fundraising. But yeah, this is something that we're really passionate about, so we really want to get this going as soon as we can. Did I bring that today just to kind of to raise awareness for the work? So, thank you for the time.
Can I just clarify, when you say young people, what age is that you're looking at?
So we're kind of pitching about 8 to 25. So 8-year-olds, yeah. So young people into the adult sphere, because we know the transition can be tough between being.
Anyone else got any questions or comments yet?
Timescales are you thinking of?
So we want to get the hub as soon as we can. So I think our aim is to kind of probably the first, if all the funding goes well, first quarter of next year. So sort of up until about April would be a great time to get it going. I mean, it all depends on the funding, but we operationally know what the is. We should be.
Councillor Jeffries.
No, a concern. 28k refurbishing the hub. It's the hub worth 28k to refurbish. You can find out.
I wouldn't say it's falling to pieces. I mean, it's got a few, as it's sound. It's got a few leaks in the roof. Most of the work is carpets, it's repainting things, it's putting some, maybe a nice external cladding on the outside. I think it's pretty well. Fires. Yeah, and the fire system needs a little bit of work as well. But I think it's, I mean, the thing about the location is pretty, as being through the car park, straight into it. Bus routes, it's a really good location, and obviously to put anything else there would cost a lot more. So I think it's worth investing 28 grand into.
I went and visited Damien and the buildings the other day, and it's pretty much as we left, to be honest with you. So it's not, it was in better condition than I was expecting it after all of those years of it. Or just been used as some light storage space.
Yeah, we've just been sort of storing some stuff.
Yeah, you the groups out there helping children. The goal is for their mental health and well-being being taken care of. As you said with the CAM service, huge waiting list. What's the path? I mean, somebody who has an issue, well, how do they get referred to you instead of getting referred to CAMS, or what is the route for young people within Thatcham?
So ours will be open access. So that means that you wouldn't have to go to your GP. The CAMS, you've got to go to GP. Apparently, for that, it often is rejected. So for us, it very much would be filling out a very short form just to capture details, or even phone call. And then, as long as the need isn't too high, because we would obviously triage the need if something came up we couldn't deal with because we don't from that end. If it is something that we can meet, then we will pick up straight away. So it wouldn't necessarily, again, it wouldn't have to go through GP or all that process. It would be as soon as you need it.
Okay. You had the benefits, potential benefits. Are you going to start capturing some baseline data so you're against this?
So we'll capture kind of key demographic data to kind of see what people are coming from, what they need, but also
was like a reduction of crime in ASB, for example.
We'll have to sort of look at the measures how we collect it, but we've done that in other services as well.
Thank you. And just a question about how you're getting yourselves known out there. So you said people can come to you then to some phone. So how will people be finding out? Will you be going out to schools, speaking to the children, or?
So again, as I mentioned a couple of times, went to Trinity today. Once we're ready to go, is we will go into assembly to all the children. We're aware of it. We'll get things through newsletters to parents. We'll also use social media as well to put things out. So we're using a range. As it was mentioned on there, the Emotional Health Academy. So they have a triaging meeting that happens every week. So need invited us to join that once we're ready. So they will send us cases as well. So with the sort of statutory systems, but also it's out there through the press and social media.
How wide is the area that you're going to aiming to be serving from?
So when we don't really want to turn anyone away, so we're going to pitch this as some kind of key offer. One of the wider things beyond this is we want to do more than just Thatcham. Eventually, we'd like to put a similar one in Newbury. I have that offer, but initially target Thatcham. That's why I've only been to Kennet and Trinity. I've not gone to St Bart's or Park House or anything like that. I'm going to keep it local. At the same time, if somewhere to walk in.
Yes. Thank you. Any questions for question time? Let's see. The minutes and.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. Maybe we reinstate standing orders. No, we reinstate standing orders. So now is do that before we progress.
See.
So can I propose that we cease the period where we've invited members of the public to speak?
Everyone in agreement with that? Thank you.
Thank you for coming. See you. Thank you.
Can we look at the minutes held on the 24th of June 2024?
Next to me is saying on the minutes it says the 22nd, it says the 24th. Which do we mean? And I suppose that we accept them.
And it's 24th was
Diaries are there.
Yeah. One further comment, Joseph.
It's the 24th. It was the 24th. Thank you. Okay, so we'll get those.
So that it actually says the 25th on the printout will need to be altered.
Yes, been altered.
Oh yeah.
It's been changed. Thank you. So,
that there now are 3 errors. So the bottom is C M. You're right. Oh no, Councillor Jeffrey is spelled wrongly as well.
Yeah.
ERY. Thanks. And the wrong date. With that proviso, I propose we accept them.
Thank you.
3 errors.
And can we have a seconder? All those in agreement? Thank you. And are there any matters arising?
No.
Now we'll go to the reports from the Mayor and Deputy Mayor. There was rather a lot of activity, so I will try and whiz through it and do the highlights. And I haven't actually done September because I thought I could do that in November because there is so much to go through. So the first week has started with a mention Action Week garden party, and I think Councillor Lillycrop came along, wondering what to do with himself after being the mayor. We had the Pride brunch. I visited the Westminster Centre and to the classic car show, and they know, even though I don't know anything about cars, relied on my consort to give me some advice. And then we went to Fletch and Bolster at Open. Then my consort seemed to do a lot better than me. They asked him to join. They didn't ask me. We had a very successful 50th anniversary of Thatcham Council, meeting with all the town mayors and heard some very interesting stories from them. Went to the D-Day library for the 80th years anniversary. Cold Ash and Wantage Brass Band was very, very good. And so was the Lord Lieutenant's Summer Garden event in Maidenhead. And of course we had the D-Day 80th anniversary remembrance service at both at Newbury and at Greenham Common as well, where they, I wouldn't say lit a beacon, they had a beacon. Went to TED Fest, a very interesting show by Francis Bailey, Music Extravaganza, which I think every single child in the school played an instrument. It was amazing. And went to the launch of the Town Centre, which is just here, that used to be Walnut Close. Like bingo, very interesting. Quite an experience. I went to Thatcham Care Home, which is open day, which is really lovely. And building strategy Women Banks launch. I also went to Newbury Pride brunch and to Thatcham Girl Guides summer event, but I didn't manage to get photos of those. Went to a very interesting variety show, which was put on for West Berkshire volunteers. Fun day, which I've only got one photograph there, but I'm sure you'll know all of the fun things that went on in the events and how successful it was. An amazing day, and we were really lucky with the weather as well. For little launch, if you haven't been to have a look, I would recommend it. Very, very interesting. We've spent a lot of money on it, and I'm sure it's going to benefit a lot of children that are not on the academic side and want to do the sort of health and social care training. And I also attended a Berkshire Music Trust Senior Festival at the Hexagon. It was really interesting. But the next page is right. So we raised the Pride flag outside the council building. I went to Kent Radio just before Pride, which was a bit about Pride, so a bit about and then Newbury Pride, which was really good fun. Not to name drop, but that, you know, had my picture taken with the local MP. My daughter's dog there. Wasn't quite aware of presence. Visit Strings and Smiles, that's me jumping on their wheel Fred. We judged an art competition at the Kennett Centre, at Kennett School. Very interesting, because two of us had the same opinion exactly.
Your consort was definitely.
But I mean, the standard was so high, we really struggled to do winners. And went to the Arts Society anniversary at, I think it should say 50th anniversary actually, rather than 50, at Shaw House. And the speaker was, we talked about Shaw House and the history of Shaw House, and it was really, really interesting. We went to see We Will Rock You at the Kennett School, which is really, really good. Photograph is showing the fact that they had an inspection and been graded good, because our teacher was really keen to to have that in the Newbury Weekly News. That's Lynn and Pete, who hold a garden party every year in their garden. Needs a lot of money. Unfortunately, Pete passed away very recently, and yes, we are. July Swan Fest at the Swan Cabin down by the station. That was really nice to do. That one is with me at the end of the show, Agatha Christie, which was very good. The Youth Family Day, which a little boy was teaching me how to do archery, but he didn't teach me very well because went to open the new cricket nets and flew. They did a very good. Was it called? Yeah. Don't know anything about cricket, but it turned out. And then we went to the FA Cup match, Football Club, which they won. So that was good. Another visit to Swings and Smiles for their open day. We were doing a little dance back there, weren't we, after a finesse? Yes. There is a video as well, but I wouldn't recommend it. And then went to some allotments coffee morning, which was very, very hot day. Visit to Alice by Court for their 60th birthday. It's to say they've now got a cafe there that's open to everybody, and I would highly recommend it. It's really good. And the old people said they love the fact that the general public are now coming in and they're getting to meet lots of new faces. Also went to the Thatcham Photographic Club barbecue, and that's Emily there on the left. We're both vegans, and they supplied a lot of vegan food just for the two of us. So we felt we had to try and make that. Interviewed for Meridian, an award for having the inns for men who've got prostate cancer. But I don't think it ever got on TV, did it? I'm presuming it won't be now because it was a very sunny day. So I don't think they can sort of put it on now, pretend that nothing. And of course, ending with Kids Fest, which was very, very successful. And anybody that was at the events working party will have heard all the comments, not just from families, from older people who were really excited to see how buzzing the town was, from store holders who did really well on the day, and from businesses. We're pleased with the footfall that was coming in. First one, and I think it's exceeded our expectations, I would say, and I look forward to doing many more of those, actually. Thank you. Was that quick enough? Petra, thank you.
Yeah, I've been busy myself. I think I've attended 48 events so far, along with events over there. I think 60 being on my own. My first one was the day we got elected, Barfield Bellbringers. St Mary's Church, which was wonderful. They were an amazing little group. I took my boys and we went to see the Rural Touring Theatre, and they were amazing with getting the kids, their imaginations running wild. I invited myself along to the Elevate dance class. And on another time, I was at the actually on Carers Week with one of the there too, and that was really informative. Lots of different signposting to other services. I think I missed the last full council meeting because I was Mary had an invite to the Newbury 211 Air Cadets open evening. And I stood in for her. I also attended the UCN at Newbury College, along with Deputy Mayor too, and we ended up handing out some awards. Also, I met up with Project Salama for some coffee and chai. And as part of that, we've now, I've met with them and worked with the town clerk, and we've fortunately managed to secure a action where they meet every other Friday at the Frank Hutchins Hall. So that come off that initial meeting. Another event and my first speech that I had to deliver because I'm on holiday. So was Heslops we're celebrating 50 years being in the high street, and that is a huge milestone for them. And it was really nice to be there to support that. And then had two Keep Fit in 1 week. So one was at the community larder. They are amazing. I can't say enough good things about the community larder. You can go there and have a cup of tea, a biscuit, seated exercises. That's what they do. They're fantastic. Movability at Alice by Court again. Like the mayor said, I went downstairs and had coffee and cake after with everyone, which was lovely. Another one I stepped in for as the mayor wasn't keen on Action Youth, and they had the children loved, they absolutely adored all the different animals that were being handed around. Very well worth it. And to be fair, I told them to make so. And then Justin, myself, and Councillor Pemberton, myself, and the boys. And that was a really lovely event. It was a really long march, so I think after an hour we instead of carrying on to the field, we go home. It was lovely to go in, and he was really well supported. So I think I've probably eaten more cake than I really should be doing in the few months, but I really have enjoyed meeting so many wonderful people. And I'm looking forward to carrying it on.
Thank you for exposing my fear of reptiles.
Yeah. I wish you really good to.
Thank you for stepping in first. Okay, approval and adoption of the committee meeting minutes. The first one we've got is the Finance and General Purposes Committee of the 22nd of July.
Who's based? Vice Chair. Oh, it's you. Oh, Vice Chair.
That's Tom.
Just thought I would double check before I. Thank you. I'd like to present the agenda in GP on the 22nd of July, pages 1 and pages 2, overleaf. Well, it's actually 476, 477, 478, and overleaf 49.
Thank you.
Second by David.
Thank you. And is everyone in agreement? Denials. Thank you. Nobody's agreeing now.
No.
Sorry, I didn't see everybody have to go up. Thank you. Creation and Amenities Committee minutes. You again, Charles.
My apologies, Madam Chair. I'd like to present the minutes for the meeting of September 16th of September 24, pages 474. That's the agenda, and overleaf 475.
Thank you. And do I have a seconder for that? Jeffrey, and is everyone in favour? Thank you. The Planning and Highways Committee meeting minutes.
Yeah. So my note, correct. correction to the agenda because I'm proposing that we minutes of the meetings on the 2nd of July, 30th of July and 27th of August. Unfortunately, the meeting on the 24th of September didn't take place. I'm proposing that the three first of those, the three of those are received and adopted.
Thank you. And do I have a seconder for those? Thank you, Councillor Pemberton. And all those in favour? Thank you. Consent for committee minutes dated 23rd of September.
Only me when I get there, Madam Mayor. I propose the adoption of the minutes of the Town Centre Committee on the 23rd of September.
I second those minutes.
Thank you. And all those in favour? Thank you. And then the staff committee minutes dated the 6th of September, which I proposed on page 94. And there was a seconder for those. So you, all in favour. Thank you. And now to consider the recommendations from those committee meetings. Finance and General Purposes Committee on the 22nd of July. That the draft revised financial regulations be adopted. Have I got a proposal? Councillor McCann, seconder. So Jeffrey, all those in favour? Thank you. Recreation and Amenities Committee on the 16th of September that the expenditure of £10,453 is funded from the Community Infrastructure Levy Funds. Approved for remedial repairs at Kennet Heath area. I got a proposal, Councillor McCann, seconder. Councillor Schiffer Hart, and all those in favour. Thank you. And okay. For alleviation works, I'm proposing is for some more work and getting some more information to the next council meeting.
Second that.
Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Action Town Cricket Club lease. This was deferred from 2 previous meetings. We're now proposing that what we're putting forward is a new draft terms and conditions, which has been shown from a 15-year notice period with the clause. Is there anything that anybody wants to add to that?
Mayor, if I may, I think that it would be beneficial if we defer this move, looking beyond the problem. She will just give a nod of advice because I'm honestly content with the wording as it stands there. Not entirely sure whether it is meaning what I want it to be meaning.
I think Adam can't confirm. You could easily just add the bit that you want to make sure it's covered in that wording. So that's the thank you.
So at the moment, the heads of terms require a 15-year notice period to be given to the cricket club. Our solicitor has advised caution and has recommended that it should be a 15-year break clause, but then also a notice period of, for example, 3 years. So the item on the agenda is to change from notice period to break clause.
If I may, Madam Mayor, thank you very much indeed for I think part to jog my memory as to where we did get to. I would like to suggest, here it should be 3 years as the notice period before the exercise of taking advice from the professions on these things as well.
Can I just talk with Councillor Lang?
I just wanted to clarify with regard to, there is a 15-year break clause in the 50-year period, so that would mean then following 35 years, there would be no break clause, no call of action.
Yeah.
There would be two, so one at 15 years, one at 30, and then for this.
Thank you. Councillor McCann has already seconded, so can I?
Sorry, thank you. Just I think one clarification. I think where it says caveat, it means covenant in here. The third line of the first paragraph in the middle.
I think that's what's
It's necessarily under caveat, yeah.
Forgive me, I think, sorry, I'm begging your pardon. I think that is a caveat, the caveat of the principle used of what the
legal term for caveat in a deed is a covenant.
Thank you. I think we can clarify that.
Yeah.
But all those in favour to just go forward, please.
Madam Chairman, on this election, there might be very interesting time. Stories. Personally, the planning committee, I wouldn't be able to get involved in this meetup.
I think what we're looking for is nominations for a working party.
Things the decision first.
Oh, sorry, right. Having received confirmation from West Berkshire Council that the designated area has been approved, Council is asked to confirm if it wishes to commence preparation of the neighbourhood development plan. So yeah, we look at the proposal for. Thank you.
Yeah, I propose that we do the exact wording here to commence preparation of the NDP.
Yeah, which is part and those in favour.
So just like to say that would like to say that maybe I think add to the conversation, but I won't be voting on this issue or any further issues after Thursday.
Thank you. All in favour? You and one of the. Sorry, and now we're looking for nominations.
I think the second point I'd like to do is that we then the agreement and it's been provided by the council in order for the West Berkshire Council to provide necessary assistance to us in that work.
Thank you.
I agree. Second.
All those in favour?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, thirdly and lastly, when I looked at this, I think that if we should start the work, there are certain things that needs to happen between the meetings, particularly if we're going to start according to the timetable the clerk put forward. We're going to start the serious work in December. Certain decisions that need to be made by the next full council meeting, some of which may require discussion basis. I'd like to propose that we establish a working party. It's the organisation for the development of the NDP, and it should aim to make recommendations to the next full council meeting on the necessary decisions, including the terms of reference of the NDP steering group and its membership. And to say there that one other item there is that, as the timetable suggested, that we're intending to send out a newsletter to invite participation, both as members of the steering group and as general participants. And I'd just like to the sort of working groups that we might have is dividing up the task: housing and environment, housing and urban environment, rural employment, economy, community, and transport. The decision for this meeting that gives an idea for when we're inviting what the sort of activities need to be.
Thank you. We've got anyone who wants to put themselves forward
we're going to start it first. So I'm proposing that we establish a group. And then
We can set this. And all those in favour? Thank you.
And then I put myself as a participant in that working group. Hopefully there'll be sufficient other members for it to be quorum. Fair enough.
Is there anyone else that wants names for now?
I'm happy to put myself forward to.
Councillor Pemberton. Thank you.
Constructive suggestion to you, Madam Chair, that we also formed and
Yeah, thank you. Good venue for
Just wanted to make sure we had at least a quorum before we established it. Thank you. So what, did I see you?
Were you putting yourself forward or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably.
Thank you.
That's how much. Yes, I want to be involved though.
Thank you. The next item is the local plan review.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you. Tomorrow we have, or the next 3 days, are the final 3 sections of the local plan examinations. And tomorrow is the session on Town Council, which I suspect will trend on YouTube channel, with everyone wanting to watch it. But the element of that is that the inspector has recommended that the development for North East Thatcham, which he has recommended will be 2,500 houses, through an NDP with community involvement, and the developer of that site has said that they wish to have that community involvement. And therefore, I'm making a recommendation to this meeting that we formally approach the developers to start discussions about what we would like to see the developments they should be designed, and that would be for the North East Thatcham development, and also for the 2 developments, the Caldash, that is Park, and the small part of the Regency Park Hotel. The park has already, I believe, made contact, but we'll need to make contact with the other 2 developers. But I think it's important at this stage, given how firm, I think the basic principles of the local plan are now established, though subject still to contemplating, that we get the best opportunity to influence their thinking. Thank you.
Thank you for doing that work, Councillor Pikes. And can we have a seconder? Who's the second? Thank you. Stevenson, and all those in favour? Thank you. Are there any against?
Abstention.
The next item is Councillor Pemberton is notified to just step down as a representative of Thatcham Sport and Welfare Society, and Councillor Lunn is interested in taking over this role. Councillor is asked to appoint him as an alternative.
First, is that what you need? Yes.
Second. Councillor Pemberton, and all those in favour? Thank you.
Before we pass over that agenda item, could I raise one further matter that I have cleared with the clerk? Is that there is a loose end resulting carried forward from our meeting in May, and I offer to be a trustee for the parish hall. It didn't get recorded in that meeting, so I'd ask that we be approved at this meeting as well, because parish hall is a charity and therefore the trusteeship is properly recorded. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, sorry, I've got another query.
Sorry.
In the list for the mark, I'm still listed. I handed over to Councillor Dave Lunn by May, so I don't know if Dementia Friendly West Berkshire were particularly informed. Have you had any emails? You have, but I have too, so thank you.
So we can close that here?
That needs to go to another council.
Okay,
We don't need to take a vote.
we don't want to.
We need to take a vote on mine, yes.
Okay.
Close that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Second of that. part, and all those in favour? Thank you. Reports from town councillors, and West Berkshire district councillors on cancer surgeries. So we've got, first one is Councillor Pike and Winfrey on the 1st of June. Must be reported on that one. Councillor Colin Stevenson on the 6th of July. Anything?
Oh, it's very interesting that the resident was absolutely certain that she'd disappeared alongside Moorside down in Kennedy. She said people sat there and chatted and it was wonderful, and why were they taken away during COVID? But West Berkshire Council have denied taking anything from the site, and Wrexham Town Council said they haven't taken anything. So I don't know if the resident was hallucinating. Were benches and they're no longer benches, but nobody knows where they are.
Councillors Lone and Cottingham on the 3rd of August. Want to report? No. And councillors Boyd on the 7th of September.
Yeah, there was a lot of concern expressed on the memorial in the pocket. My understanding is that the incorporated in planning commission were going the 19th. Who owns the land, because I think we have to identify any. But my understanding is that it was closed because it was declared to be unsafe by the memorial trustee. I'm to be corrected if that's wrong, and that's why it was closed, because of a health and safety issue, which is rather disappointing. I would like to say that somehow maybe the council is in contact with the representative on the memorial, still local, and we find there's not a situation for a footpath that has been there for 70 plus years, and there is a lot of upset by a lot of residents in Beverly Close and the adjoining roads. People in Close and that we try and improve the situation together and find a way to get this this culvert slope fencing that has been put up. That is well, I've walked through them many times and see people use. Thank you. Thank you. We did actually ask, council asked the officers go in, investigate. I can't quite remember what's happened to that information coming back, but it's certainly within our remit to turn and ask if it has been closed on health and safety grounds. It will have been minuted in the records of the organisation. We would ask for a copy of that, and if there has a decision, then would have been a report stating why it was closed. And somebody couldn't have just said it's not safe. With a son. I think we supporting our residents who have that, and the dog park seems to be the thing that's most irritated people, not the actual levy itself. Once people understood what this purpose was, the peripheral stuff seems to have been. So I think perhaps we could ask staff to see people more. It doesn't have to come back to full council. Creating agenda necessary. So conversations about and progress stuff from that perspective. Yes, basically my understanding, this is my understanding, is that they had legal advice from solicitor And it is on them. No.
Still look into that further.
So just an observation at this time that were that path to be designated as a public right of way, the district council would become responsible for maintaining the surface, which might solve the problem.
I'll take that on board as the district council. See what happens when you.
Have we got a report from district councillor?
Yeah, not in there. I suppose the biggest single report from council at the moment are the events surrounding the phrase clawback. Clawback terminology. So we assign to the rubbish bin in due course. That's the official term for it. When the schools council decides, which involve no district councillors or even district officers, it is actually schools themselves that decide that in particular school too much funds being held over for the work we're doing in that particular year. Considering that the district council didn't initiate it, wasn't responsible for it, it did not take a caning. But I think that the council and the public in general, the leader of council and the portfolio holder, children and young people, worked together, visited schools that were directly negatively impacted, and have come up with a solution that I believe has been okay with. I'm not going to dare to say the word okay, or dare. Some of it has been simply ensuring that the work which need and ought probably to be done by West Barton Council. Council and therefore didn't need to hold those funds in its own accounts, and they have all been reminded that the money that comes through from government to run the school is not meant to be there for many years. It might be appropriate to put it 3 years, maybe something which started meant to be there to be restored several years in the position to do so. I think it would be something which is the responsibility of West Barton Council. So now I think that was by far and away the biggest single thing recently, and I am relieved to say schools involved at the end of the day saw they were being treated fairly. And we will not go through this again because it's now setting up a yearly meeting with head teacher, chairman, governors, so that be thrashed out in meetings rather than going through the kind of that we. I think that would be my summary of our recent council meeting.
Thank you.
Anything to add? No. Just down to me. Okay.
Just a few extra things I'll well, so there's quite a lot going on through it all. The waste strategy, the West Barton Council waste strategy is currently out for consultation. That consultation live. Several months of discussions with the officers and the portfolio holder. So you can comment on that now. There's a huge amount of information that goes along with it and lots of different options that the council are considering. Again, I won't go through those now. The pedestrianisation of North Broad Street is ongoing as well, discussions around that. The process has been halted a little bit because the original plan was to implement what's called an experimental traffic regulation order, which would in theory have allowed West Berkshire Council to close the road while the consultation with local residents and businesses was ongoing. Because of a last minute intervention by the Department for Transport, we couldn't actually do that, and we had to sort of pre-consult. It's a bit of back and forth, and again, I won't go into the nuance of that here, but that pre-consultation is now live. So you can comment on that on West Berkshire Council's website. It's a very, very short form which simply asks people if they are for or against the proposed increase in hours. You pin a few basic details around your postcode and that sort of stuff, and it will record your response. That will then feed into but again, I would encourage anybody to participate in that and sort of give their views, because obviously it will inform what comes next. The ongoing conversations about Eagle Quarter, which is obviously the big development in central Newbury, which will go ahead, replace the Kennett Centre, actually comes before Western Area Planning later this week. I don't know what day off the top of my head. It comes with officers' recommendations to approve, but obviously that will have to be debated and decided on by the committee. I think the site visit is taking place this week as well. It's obviously quite a contentious one for obvious reasons. It's been going back and forth for a long time now. The developer has put forward various iterations of the proposal. It has resulted in the current one, which is a reduction in the height, but still lots and lots of objections from local residents, the Newbury Society as well, that are coming to. It's obviously something to watch out for as well. And the final thing that I was going to mention was the winter fuel allowance, which is outside the remit of West Berkshire Council. But at a recent full council meeting, a motion was brought to for obvious reasons, and asked the leader of the council to write to the government to review the criteria and also to maximise awareness of the uptake of pension credit, which is linked to the new threshold for the removal to this majority of effective pensioners.
Thank you.
Very briefly, I was tasked to the Kennett swing impact from running for the JAG, they call them. And I can assure you that the number of councillors have been assigned, and also has been given responsibility for it. We'll ask them to, or if they haven't already done so, contact Clark, and we'll be running through.
Thank you. Oh, Councillor Stevenson.
I only wanted to add a rather amusing end note to what Councillor Plimpton's just said. Of course, in West Berkshire Council, we've got the unusual, we've got a leader. And he was due to meet the new Labour MP for that bit in the east there, the very day after the council, and he said he would pass on. Sure that. And he's supported. It's still alive.
Can we move on to the outside body reports? First one is the
So just for clarification, I was originally nominated, but the last AGM I was elected directly. So Nico representative anymore. But basically, we're a small. There's an executive meeting tonight, which obviously I have missed, but which is a small county association. This main activity is training, which I'm sure the councillors are already aware of, and many of them are taking part.
Thank you. Dementia Friendly West Berkshire.
I cannot be. I haven't actually attended the last meeting, but what I have done is looked at the calendar and gone through and reached out to the groups that meet, so hence why I've gone to see the Elevate dance class, exercise. So I've looked at the different teams that they support, the Mentor Family, West Berkshire, and I've gone and visited those groups. I believe there's a meeting in the next week, which I intend on, unless Dr. Jeffries has any further update. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. We have been getting ourselves very prepared for the Thatcham Festival. We have a strong link with Francis Burney School, given the Astrological Society, and with some lovely talks coming on. And we've also been purchasing some really good furniture for it as well. So our money grant's been very well spent. And we had to ask Madam Clerk for increased it was over a certain amount, which has been approved. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Hennickworthy, oh no, sorry, Green Common.
Thank you. So this is an exception because this body is established by Act of Parliament. This is to see interests in the of different uses of common, and the main activity of interest, I suspect, specifically, is the balance between the ecological literature side of the common and large organised events, and trying to facilitate them as much as possible, compatible with the purpose of the common for nature. Thank you.
Hennickworthy Sportsfield.
I'd like to speak on this one, Madam Mayor, because I'm now the chairman of the AMC. So yeah, well, I've just been promoted at work has had a year as well. So but no, so there's my esteemed colleagues here also at the meeting. Are you also representatives, or are you there in Lewis? Someone else?
I was subs at that meeting.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm there as a West Parks. Thank you very much. So there's a lot of ongoing things. I met with Berkshire Council leader who did the handover with me, showed me what we'd like in place, and let's just say around in sport, etc. I've got some quite good ideas potentially that we're going to take forward. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Start.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, that's me again. I was very lucky to be able to go. They've moved, but within the same building, so they had a new office opening, and it gave them a great opportunity to sort out and organise it a lot better. And they're now on the ground floor. There is meeting that meeting I'll be attending October. My only update at the moment.
Centre. Lady Frances Winchcomb's Thatcham Foundation.
Your turn.
There's a meeting coming up.
Thank you. The Future Friends.
Yes, I mean that is me. The group last met on the 10th of September. I wasn't able to go, unfortunately. So prior to that, I met in July. And it is really, really busy at the moment, this group. Along with Thatcham, which is great. There had been a celebration planned for Thatcham's milestone, which had been first, but we weren't able to do that for the election period. So I think the idea is to do a joint celebration at some point, but it's obviously difficult getting councils together, especially during the day as well. So that's that. I'm not going to go through it here because the agenda is just so busy. The highlights, I guess, the water refill app that's been launched. They're encouraging businesses to sign up because people can obviously work out from that where they're able to get their cups refilled or bottles, etc., refilled. They're looking at rolling out a returnable scheme where you pay a deposit at certain retail outlets and you can just reuse that, subject to terms and conditions. The youth initiative, which is still rolling on, but it's not rolled out as quickly as we would like, which is the plastic tree that slots onto a lamppost, so you can get your use come into it. Gum's then collected and used to make more gumdrops. The idea being you discourage people from dropping as many as we'd like. And alongside that piece, there's a lot of engagements with local schools and businesses and work that they do in their systems.
Thank you. And action allotment gardening.
You again. I have met with this group a couple of times, and they've been also fortunate to have Madam Mayor attend one of their coffee mornings. They are looking to sort out some in front of where they have their coffee mornings. They're after something to stop and getting muddy when vehicles go over. And they were thinking about seeing if there was some kind of grant that they can apply for, but they got quite a bit of funds from their coffee morning, so I think they may be looking to just sort that out themselves. But apart from that, I attended their last meeting. It's the last one of the season because with winter time, they will committee meeting this Friday, but after that, it will stop until the springtime. Really,
Thank you. Action Flood Forum.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Flood Forum and the SWMP are not meeting regularly now. Part of the funding stage for all the remaining alleviation schemes. However, in terms of progress, Fletcham North and East schemes are now pretty much there. They're just doing some re-landscaping and seeding now. And as far as the memorial, the main part of the work, knitting, I think the aiming the stage that should be so to a very good conclusion. And we'll see other elements such as compensation and so on will be discussed at a later stage.
Thank you.
Just a question. Yeah.
Were you aware that the work was halted due to flooding?
Fletcham Memorial Foundation, that's Councillor Cole, he's not here, is he? Fletcham Discovery Centre.
Not much to report. I have the manager left, but a small and very busy team, so I haven't achieved that yet.
Fletcham Parish Hall.
So Fletcham Parish Hall continues on a sound financial basis, thankfully. We're undertaking a steady programme of improvements, the most challenging part of which is finding tradespeople to do the work that we've identified. But just to alert you that there are a number of more substantial projects that will need to take place in years in deteriorating the building.
Thank you.
Which might require funding.
Thank you. Fletcham Relief in Need charity, that's Councillor Cole again, so one. Fletcham Support and Welfare Society.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. I'm really sad to be stepping away from this actually because I've really enjoyed working with this charity. It's not a big charity, but experienced and well-established trustees that do an amazing job for some really vulnerable people who struggle to look after their home, who struggle to look after their garden, who can't get this appointment. We've even grant funded an application for a young man who couldn't get to school because his parents didn't have in the time that I've been with them, a small charity struggling to sort applications and use all of the funding. to actually exceeding that and having to triage the cases that come in according to priority. So a 20% uplift in the amount of grant funding in that 16-month period that I've been involved with. And if it wasn't for the other responsibilities that I've now got over at Sparks, I would be very, very keen to kind of keep this one. But even with the established group of trustees, society does accept that it needs to expand. It does accept that it needs to go out and do a lot more fundraising and bring in new talent and new energy and experience. And that's why I'm really delighted to be able to hand over to Councillor Hunt to carry the journey on. Well done.
Back in Cricket Club.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Attending the last meeting, but I've been in discussion with the president of the club. Something that they're particularly happy with, but I shall provide a much more detailed report about the next council.
Spectrum Youth. Councillor Schiffer Hart.
Yes, Madam Mayor, just to report that they've had an excellent summer with their events, and as we saw, Madam Mayor, we didn't see the reptiles. Behind the scenes there, a few changes taking place at the moment, which we're working through, and they're going to be getting ready for their autumn events during Christmas. Thank you.
Okay, Coat School.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This the new door, and I have a look at it. Oh, Sunday, that was I mean, the real English. Because it's understood. I don't had that many meetings during the summer. Multi-use toilet. Yes, it's the only thing that they really shall call it.
Thank you.
Otherwise, they would all as well.
Volunteer Centre, West Berkshire Steering Group.
This one keeps coming around, and I have raised it at previous council meetings in that I'm not sure that the steering group exists.
Okay.
But we haven't been able to get to the bottom of it.
Thank you. West Berkshire Heritage Forum.
Madam Mayor, I've got to say I'm not aware of there having been any meetings recently, and if that's, I apologise, and perhaps I can find out when we're next meeting.
Stevenson.
However, you might remember that at the last council meeting I reported was supposed to be the West Berkshire representative, and I haven't been invited to anything and was told it no longer exists. And I was told it does exist, so they need to make their minds up as to whether they exist.
I'm not sure there's a lot we can do about that. The West Berkshire Suicide Prevention Action Group, that's me. I haven't got anything really substantial to report since the last time I reported. The last meeting we had was an update from all of the groups on the prevention group about where they are, what they're doing, and the next meeting will be and West Berkshire Therapy Centre. So Stevens again.
There's been no progress. Our last meeting, somebody happening behind the scenes, but then the actual therapy centre team together. We haven't actually had a meeting for a while. All going on in the background, and there has been progress as far as West Berkshire Council doing what they were required to do. So the footing has been established.
That's reports. Next item, resolve that in view of the commercially sensitive nature, publicly. Thank you, Mr. Panton. And the press and public art, right, Yeah, let's have that.
That really excludes the rest.
You, councillor Jeffrey, and seconder. And all those in favour, thank you.